SysloSpice digital recipes for dominance. SysloSpice. Recipes for digital dominance. Hello everybody, we're gonna dive right in. All right, here's what's going on. So we got a little bit of SysloSpice coming at you. We're gonna do free weekly trainings on everything relating to marketing, digital media, video production, video editing, website design, graphic design, social media design, how to generate more leads, growing a digital brand, brand transformation, brand strategies. They're all gonna be free live trainings that you're gonna get an accessible link to. We're gonna do it every Wednesday at 7 p.m. My goal is to really educate you, give you some spice, throw some heat on it, build it all together so that you have everything you need for free to check out and improve your brand, your marketing efforts on social media right now, especially right now with everything that's required to bring your brand, your business, whatever it may be, into the digital era. So I hope to see you there. Sign up, let's get you on. I look forward to seeing you there. SysloSpice, recipes for digital dominance. I'll see you there. Hey everybody, how you doing? Hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear right now. It's good to see you all. First things first, I would like to apologize for not being here the last 2 weeks. I had a little emergency mouth surgery I had to go handle, but we're okay. So I had it the day of and then all that good stuff. But we're back and we're going to talk about some good stuff. Everything going to be great today. You know, it's going to really this topic that we're going to dive into, how to market through the holidays it's a little tough. It's a tough period from about November 20th, I would say 18th through New Year's. Like right, that bracket is a very tough time. At least that's what I've observed. I mean, it's not to say it can't be done, but it is a little bit difficult. So I wanted to do tonight's topic about that and really give you my insights onto it, what I've seen other companies do, companies that I've been a part of, what we do, how we handle our clients through this time period, because it's a great period from the sense of family and spending time together and hanging out and doing all that and, you know, catching up with people we maybe haven't seen in a little while. From a business perspective, it's interesting, right? It's exciting. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot of things going on and it's kind of all over the place. And so when it comes to marketing, we already started noticing some of the things, the changes that happened, I would say starting about 2 weeks ago. And it just happened through that. So we're going to dive into that today. We're going to talk about that. We shouldn't be, I don't think we're going to do a full hour today. I think we'll probably do maybe 30, 40 minutes. But it'll still be chock full of content that, you know, is going to just give you some power throughout the next 45 days. Because realistically, here's what happens, okay? Monday of this week, everybody's like, Thanksgiving's in 3 days, right? Most companies, I mean, I don't take off, but, you know, you have Thanksgiving and then you have Black Friday, right? So from about end of day Monday through the rest of this week, it becomes people get a little checked out. Across the board. I've seen this. I don't know, maybe it's not the case, but in the years that I've been in business and the years that I've been doing this as a salesperson, we start to shift into that. Oh, well, let's wait till the holidays over. Oh, well, let's wait until the new year, right? And you probably heard that. Now, not everybody does that, but I'm going to talk about how you can kind of circumvent that with your marketing, with your content, with your advertising and everything, because people check out. They're going to check out. If they haven't checked out, they're going to check out. And so how do you pull them out of that? Like, you know, what's that called? Tryptophan? No, tryptophan's like a bad drug, isn't it? What's the one that's in the turkey? I don't remember the name. Makes you all sleepy. They all get that infected and then they, you know, it's like, oh, okay, they're checked out. And then that kind of carries on through Christmas. So my objective today is to give you some insight on how we're going to market through the holidays, how we've marketed other companies through the holidays, and how we're going to bring that to light, because it's an interesting time period, right? Because you're against a lot of things, you got a lot going on, and it's like, well, how do I beat that, right? How do I put myself in a better position to actually continue to make money, continue to expand, especially from a service standpoint, real estate standpoint, whatever industry you might be in. So we're going to dive into that and go over that right now, right? So let's just kind of come back for a second. This will be our 6th episode right now. I know we had a couple weeks where I wasn't there, 2 or 3 weeks I wasn't doing it, so we should really be on 9. But we're on 6, so we're going to give you about 6 hours of content, really, and you can go back and watch all this stuff. What I recommend, and if you hadn't started doing this, and I hope that through some of the trainings that we have done so far and all of the live stuff, is that at some point in the last 90 days, you got into the awareness game. Like you spent some money on ads. Didn't have to be a lot, didn't have to be anything major, but at least 90 days out, okay? And if you didn't do it this year, it's no problem. I'm going to show you how to handle that. We'll go over that in this call today. But realistically, 90 days out from Thanksgiving and Christmas. So by the end of August, I was like, we have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. It's like the quadruple punch in the face of like high marketing, a lot of activity, a lot of competition out there in the marketplace, a lot of big companies that have the money that you may not have or you might have to be able to substantiate and win during this time period, right? So for us, what I'm interested in is how can I get ahead of that curve, right? So let's just look at back. Let's track it back 90 days, all right? So let's put it September, right? September, October, November, 90 days. Around September, what I ended up doing was nobody else was really thinking about this. Everybody was kind of like, okay, we're doing our thing. I'm like, no, Christmas is coming. Thanksgiving is coming. I know what's going to happen. I know exactly how this is going to go. We need to really build up an audience right now and awareness. And if you haven't done it yet, start like now, like get off while you're listening to me, go to your business manager on Facebook, go to your Google Ads account and turn on some sort of awareness campaign that goes to an audience that builds an audience. Okay. Now, why do we want to do this? There's a couple of reasons for that. The first thing is that during that time period, I upped my level of content, which was number one. Probably the biggest thing is like from now to the end of the year, we have a lot of content coming out, a lot of Instagram stories, a lot of posts, a lot of LinkedIn posts, a lot of YouTube videos that I shot about 3 of them this week, 4th with this, got 2 more on the way. And I've got all these awareness campaigns going and I turned up the dial on the spend. So I increased my budget. I almost doubled it, but didn't quite double it, right? Now, the reason why I was doing that was because I knew that around now or a week ago, even Monday, or even last Thursday, that it was going to get a little funny. Because what happens is that costs go up to acquire leads. That's number one. During the holidays, I'm going to give you what you're up against right now, okay, and tell you about how I'm handling it and then what you can do with it. So take your notes. So costs are up for everything. Cost is up for awareness. Cost is up for traffic. Cost is up for leads. Cost is up for e-commerce, okay? Why? Because you got Macy's, I don't even know if they're still around, but you got your department stores all over the place. You got your big companies. You got your automotive companies that are going to unleash the end of the 4th quarter, right? This is what's weird, okay? It's holiday, it's supposed to be a happy time. For me, I kind of get a little like PTSD on it. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a gauntlet, right? Everybody's like, la, 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 turkey and Christmas gifts and trees. And I love all those things. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, you better be prepared, man, because this is going to be rough. And it's not that it's rough. It's just that you got to do a lot. And so I started back in September and I started ramping up. And what happens when I'm doing these awareness campaigns, we've talked about this before, but I'll go into it now, is that I start to fine tune that audience about who I'm getting in front of. Okay. And, you know, for a $3,000 spend, $500 spend, you could reach 20,000, 40,000 people, something like that, maybe more. And you can cultivate that audience by continuing to give them campaigns and videos and content and pieces of information about yourself while dropping your own content out into the marketplace. So what's happening during this time? I'm just amassing people in this moment. SysloSpice, this whole thing, the list that we gathered from this, I think we're at 250 signups, but everybody's probably going to eat turkey right now. But we have about 250 signups basically for free. Like it was pretty interesting. But we market to them and all that stuff. But for me, I'm like, okay, I need to amass an audience. Let's amass an audience. Let's amass an audience. Let's get people to see me. Let's get people to see me. Let's keep serving them awareness. I haven't really promoted the products and services, which we're going to switch over to here in a second, starting this week. But what I did was I took what was basically an audience that I already existed. Around 3.5 million people a month is about what I reach, maybe a little more, might be closer to 4 million now, about 48 million people a year I'm getting in front of. And I'm adding to it. Why is it that I'm doing that? Is because as long as I keep adding those people in, I can serve my ads at a lower cost over time, right? Especially now. Okay, because everybody can do their Black Friday sales. It's even good for Black Friday. We're not going to do any Black Friday stuff. We're just going to do heavy promotion and marketing on our courses and things like that. But what I did was that I amassed this audience since September that now I can go to and ask them to buy. Okay, I was already thinking ahead. Some of them bought, some of them became leads, some of them became big deals, some of them became, you know, really awesome clients, which we service and we help. But I was thinking ahead and I said, okay, I need to build this fast for the next 90 days if I can. Now, if you haven't done it since September, no problem. You can literally start right now and start amassing as many people as possible. Good news, Thanksgiving is going to be over by the end of this week. So you've got tomorrow and Black Friday, which is just crazy. I mean, you're going to get ambushed with everything. But from that point forward, if you don't have any kind of campaign going, going to shoot yourself in the foot. I don't care if you don't even have a product to sell right now. You need to invest in awareness campaigns to amass your audience, because let's say maybe in 2 weeks or maybe even for the new year, because everything that you do from right now till January 2nd, okay, into 2022, which is wild, by the way, if you think about it. Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Christmas is less than 30 days. Yeah, it's like less than 30 days away. Then you have New Year's after that. What's going to happen in New Year's? So you can't check out because everybody else is checking out. You got to go on the hardcore offensive with your marketing. Okay. If you've been backed off and worried about, well, I don't really necessarily want to create content because I'm not sure what to say. Now is the time to get over that fear. Now is the time to push past that and put yourself in a position where you can start building, because what you're going to do right now will lead to the success of January. Okay. I'm already thinking about January. So I know I have December that I have to go through, and I have to turn up my ads. I have to turn up my content creation. But then there's January, okay? There's the end of the year and the beginning of the year. I make a joke with everybody, okay? Like the end of the month for me is like, yeah, we're getting there, we're getting there. And then the first of the month is like, boom, we're back to zero. There's also Fridays, which I don't like because it's the end of our week, our stat week. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, great. I got to start all over again. You know, we had our highest week ever last week in company history. This week, I'm like, okay, how are we going to do that? We did like 60, 70% of our normal revenue in 1 week. Okay, what's going to happen now? That's why we really track monthly, but we do break it down week over week. But again, I was like, Thanksgiving's coming. I got 72 hours. I got 72 hours to really make this work. So what I'm interested in from an awareness standpoint is that I know that I'm up against really large companies that have very deep pockets, deeper pockets than I have, deeper pockets than the pockets of the people that they, you know, like if you look at some of your most successful guys right now, they're going up against even bigger companies. Okay. And so they're going to turn on the aggression and they're going to market and adapt as fast as they can. So that's the first thing you have to realize, is that number one, you're going up against people that are going to buy up a lot. They're going to have the money to do it. They're going to have a bigger audience. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But that's why if you can start sooner or start now is the time to do that, because you've already built your audience. Then you can come at them, even if you don't have $1 million to spend a month or more. You know, if you only have 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 100,000, whatever that number is for you, you have the capacity to go in there and really start pulling people out of their like funk, their Christmas funk, their Thanksgiving funk, and start pulling them to you. So that's the first thing that you're really up against, is you're up against the big budgets. Okay. The second thing is you're up against designers now. Now you're up against designer brands. You're up against household names. You're up against guys and entrepreneurs that are in the marketplace that have claimed a very powerful position. And look, I'm not saying that to freak you out. I'm not saying that to cause a problem to you. What I'm saying is that just look at what you have. Okay. And that comes back to the awareness play that we're saying, because the more that audience was created and built. And one thing, anybody that just scrolls past your Facebook page or scrolls past your Instagram feed or scrolls past a video on your YouTube, they get in your audience. Like they scroll past and they look for a second, they're automatically calculated in. That's an impression. Okay. That's an audience that you can go back and you can sell to and you can market to. Sorry, we're out of focus. There we go. So you can go back and you can market to and you can sell to those people, right? So when you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I don't have all this engagement. Well, I mean, how many views did you have? You had 200 views, but not a lot of engagement. That's awesome. That's 200 more people that you can go back and second sell. You can second market to them. You can give them more. You can come at them with a harder offer if you want, right? So you got your designer brands. Just be aware that they're there, okay? That's really the primary thing for you, is just be like, okay, I know they're there. Now, if you remember, one of the things that we talked about was flanking and guerrilla tactics in marketing. Now would be the time to kind of employ some of those. Okay. Now would be the time, if you can't attack directly head on right now. Okay. If you don't have the budgets to go against bigger companies, go after their weak spots, find those weak spots. Or if you like the company, kind of get in their wave a little bit. What do I mean by that? What are they saying and what are they doing? Like, flow some power to them, tell them that they're doing a good job, but inject yourself into their space, right? You can inject yourself into their ecosystem, and you can start snatching up deals and individuals right out of that just by showing up. You can tag people in your post. You can tag locations in your post. You can do all of those things and pull people into the market, right, just by doing that. Okay, because they're spending the money, right? But you can kind of ride the coattails. YouTube's a great example of this. One trick that you can do on YouTube is that in the description of YouTube, you can put in there something that says, this video was inspired by X. Okay, you can say this video was inspired by D, if you're trying to, it depends on whoever you are, but let's just pick Damon John or somebody. This video was inspired by Damon John, and you put the link to that video inside of YouTube in the description. Guess what happens? You're actually cheating the YouTube algorithm to position your video next to this guy. Why? Because he's got so much power. YouTube wants to keep feeding that individual. It's kind of like backlinking SEO, but you're kind of doing it with video. So if you just put a few, influencers that you like in your description, hey, this video was inspired by this, but here's my take, and you put the link to that video in there, and then you tag that person inside of tags on YouTube, that's injecting yourself into the wave. Okay, that's using YouTube's own algorithm to your own benefit. Right now, that's a little trick that I do sometimes when I'm trying to get a particular item into where it needs to go. But just that little one move, and then you market that video for cheap, like $500, $1,000, $5,000 a month in ad spend on Google Ads. I mean, you're playing at now you're injecting yourself into a bigger brand, and you're kind of coming in, and you're going to be able to scoop up that space and really take advantage of what it is that they created. Just that one move, okay? Tagging locations on Facebook and Instagram, big thing, okay? Letting people know where you are on your business page, or where you are on your personal page, or on your Instagram page. Just changing those locations and not picking the same city all the time, and choosing different areas within that city. That's also a way to inject yourself into that audience, right? Because then if you boost that post, if you run Instagram ads with that post, all those locations now become access to your audience. So you can kind of cheat the system a little bit here, where even though you may not have the budget, or maybe you not have the reach or the audience that already exists, you could do these little things to just give you a slight edge, right? That move right there is just going to give you access to another, it depends on what city you're in, or depends on where you are or the location. But if it's a really popular location, people are just going to turn around. They're going to say, my God, okay, who's this guy? What's going on there? This whole thing that we're trying to do over the next 45 days, 60 days into the new year is to legitimately position yourself to be prepared to handle December. That's number one. Handle December, and then handle January. Okay, because it's the end of the year. I never finished that story. End of the year, boom. Start of the year, boom. So you have your entire year statistic at the end of December, and then you start back at zero on January 1st, as opposed to starting at zero on the 31st, on the first of the month, and your high note on the end of the month. You start it. It's just, I hate that. It's so painful for me. I'm like, oh God, I got to climb that mountain all over again. I'm used to it now. I'm used to it. Right. Next thing, attention. So a lot of people are going to have attention in different places. Okay. A lot of people are going to be competing for attention. Now, I'm not saying go out and do the most craziest thing you can think of, or do the thing that is just there to get attention. No, what we're trying to do here is just recognize that people's attention is not going to be where it normally is, right? But you can play into that. So where is people's attention on Thanksgiving? Where is people's attention on Black Friday? Where is people's attention on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's? What have you personally experienced both before, during, and after those days? And how could you create content centered around that, right? Maybe it's family, maybe it's good food, maybe it's stupid food, maybe it's silly food, maybe it's gifts, maybe it's the James Bond marathon. I don't know. I don't even know if they still do that anymore. Although the last James Bond movie was terrible. Sorry, little moment there. But the point of the matter is that we want to find what's happening, where are people's thoughts, where are their emotions, what's going on in Christmas trees, snow. It's Miami for me, so I'm not going to have snow. That's not going to happen here. I could put fake snow. I got sand, I got that, but I don't have snow, right? So you need to look at and analyze right now from a content and advertising standpoint, what kind of emotions do people go through during the holidays, okay? Is that happiness? Are they feeling alone? Maybe it's a motivational product you're trying to sell and you're trying to figure out, okay, great. We have this new course that we're trying to launch. So how could I position this better in the marketplace? What kinds of things do people go through, right? Maybe it's family. I don't know. Maybe it's something new, gifts, all those things. Like I'm a very unorthodox individual. Like I don't do things the way people do it. I don't know if that's an intentional thing, but that's just how I roll. Right? So I'm always constantly looking for ways to get attention back over to me. Now, I'm not saying that from a vanity standpoint. I'm saying that from the currency of attention, right? The competition for attention that exists out there in the marketplace right now. Like the loudest, the boldest, the craziest, the wildest is going to get the most, right? But if you're not any of those things, you don't have to necessarily do that. But if you play into the emotional viewpoint, if you play into the perspective of where people struggle or where people are or what they're going through or what they're thinking about, if you play into that, that positions you and your content better and even your awareness play, right? So how would you break that down? Maybe we take the time of being together, reconnecting with people, right? Okay, what can we do as far as content with that? Well, maybe share something about yourself, share something about what you do with your job, something about, what you do with your family during that time, and just post it and promote it, right? Some of the best content that has delivered leads for me or delivered results for me actually wasn't an ad. It was me or my wife. It was me and my friends. It was me doing something else. So now is the time to really get creative for the next 45 to 60 days and being creative on the emotional strings that you can pull, the pain points that people have during the holidays. Maybe you're selling a course that could help people increase their income. They want to buy, more gifts for people, but they don't have the income to do that. That's a string, right? Tough string to take a look at, but it is something that you could discuss. It is something that you could talk about, right? Or your own personalized story. I can't tell you how many Christmases, like I spent a Christmas homeless. That was wild. I spent a Christmas in the backseat of my car. I had a girl I dated in high school broke up with me on Christmas Eve, and it like ruined Christmas for me forever. And so like I have these little things that I could do, although that's kind of depressing, but it could be used now as like an overcome story. Like, hey, this is what I did to really get to where I am, or this is what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm thinking about right now. And that strategy coupled with that awareness play and getting that attention back by pulling on those emotional points is really where you're going to see the game change for you, right? And this is how I do it, right? I've been doing a little more personalized content lately. Like I dropped a video today. I did, one of the videos I dropped yesterday was about, what did I talk about? What I learned in business and a lot of the 3 things that I had to really overcome as a business owner, which was very unique. Like it has nothing to do really to marketing, has nothing to do other than this is my story and how I dealt with this. I dropped another video today where I talked about how I don't tolerate specific things, right? Really personal, emotional, heartstring based information that I'm using to, affect a response. Okay. I'm wanting people to reach to me. I'm wanting people to call me. I'm wanting people to have a communication with me because I know that the attention's gone, right? The checkout, man. Oh, and my favorite, I'm going to do content about, I'm going to do content that's coming up about, we'll wait to the new year. When someone says they're going to wait to the new year, what they're really saying is they don't want to be bothered with their business today, right? They're not bothered with creating the way the business needs to go today. So you have to kind of unravel that. Now you can do this with whatever product you're selling. Like I'm going to take the advertising and marketing approach. My favorite that I do with this is, look, you want to wait till January. Everybody else is going to wait. This is like my close. So everybody else is going to wait till January, till after the new year, right? Because it's a fresh year. But the guys that can start today, and like I just told you about, 90 days ago, the guys that start today can go into the new year already winning and powerful. Most people want to put that off. Well, I got Christmas gifts. I'm going to go on this vacation. I'm going to go take this trip. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. You got to handle that viewpoint, right? So if you're trying to get sales on a specific product from a marketing perspective, you got to think about all the angles that you got to handle, right? After the new year, call me next week. It's Thanksgiving. Call me 2 days. Call me a week from now. We're going out of town. We're going on a trip to the Bahamas. We're going on a trip, blah, 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 blah. Good. Well, what do we got to do to handle that before they go? And you can even use this from a salesperson perspective and ask yourself and say, well, how would I normally handle that? And you can do content on that. Like, hey guys, this is something, do your worst case scenario stories where you've seen people wait to purchase, right? They waited a long time to actually make a sale, and then they came back to you in January and they're like, my competition's beating me. Well, duh. Of course they're beating you. They're beating you because you waited, you hesitated, you had this horrible viewpoint where you were just like, well, I'm going to wait till after the holidays, Rob. Well, good for you. I'm going to keep going. And, when you come back in January, you're like, let's start it today. No, sir, it's going to take time. So the viewpoint is don't wait, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Whatever product you have, look at all the ways that you can handle people over the next 45 days. Because realistically, here's what you have. You have tomorrow, which you could promote tomorrow, but it's okay. It may get locked up on something. And then you have Friday. And then you have the rest of the month, right? So tomorrow's the 25th, 26th, Saturday is 27th, 28th. You have next Tuesday, and then November's over. Then you have December, and you really only have 2.5 weeks in December. And then you have Christmas, and then you have that weird time warp week between Christmas and New Year's where it's like nobody knows what they want to do. Nobody knows where they're at, and they're struggling. So you really only have about 15 or 16 days to really make some magic happen here, okay? So everything that I'm sharing with you right now is recognize that people are checked out, the attention's going to be lost, you're going against bigger brands, you're going against big budgets, and we just dissected a lot of information right there on ways that you can actually build this out. Awareness should have started 90 days ago. If it didn't start it today, okay? Get your offers on, increase your ad spend, find money that maybe you didn't have, or find a way to increase, double, triple your ad spend from where it was, because you're going against a lot of people right now. And as I said, costs are going up. Costs are increasing. And so realistically, what we're trying to do in this situation was trying to beat that. You got to increase the spend slightly on that. You got to increase the content creation as well. Really find the emotional points where people are struggling. Where are people finding problems? Where are people getting stuck? Where are people, where are their heads at for the next 45 days? Is it in Christmas? Is it inside of Thanksgiving? Where is it? Is it in love? Is it in romance? Is it in trips? Is it in gifts? Is it in cars? What is it? Take stock, take inventory. I don't care what product you have a way in with these people. You have a way in to segue through that, right? I already said up the content and up the email marketing campaigns. If you haven't done it yet, sign up for an email service, whatever that is. Constant Contact, HubSpot, Infusionsoft, although you kind of need a PhD to run that one. Constant Contact is what I use. It's pretty simple. But get creative, right? Now is the time to turn on the juice. Now is the time to really market at a level you haven't done before. Now is the time to recognize that if you want to win in December, if you want to win in January, you have to take these extra steps, these extra precautions, these extra viewpoints from where they were, because otherwise you're stuck in this kind of time warp thing where you're going to always be catching up. I forget what the terminology is, but you're trying to catch up to everybody else. You're behind. And you don't want to do that to yourself. You want to give yourself as much time, as much energy, as much reach, and as much expansion as possible. So if you've been struggling with content creation, now's the time to do it. If you've been struggling with increasing your ad spend, now's the time to do it. If you've wanted help with it, reach out to me. My team will help you with it. Whatever it is, we can do whatever we got to do to put you in a better position. And understand that, yes, okay, we have the holidays coming. We have big budgets. We have price slashes. We've got every kind of deal, BOGO, buy one, get one you could think of coming right now. But the point is that whatever we're trying to do in the moment is that we're just trying to get a little bit of an edge. And so everything that I'm telling you right here is what I've seen other companies do, what we do, what I'm going to do, how we're going to break that down, and how it's going to expand from there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up to questions. As I said, it was only going to be about 30 minutes. This one will go back to our standard hour the following week. But I wanted to get back in, kind of get the engine rolling a little bit, give you some heads up. And next week, we'll dive into some strategies as far as ads are concerned. We'll share the screen and we'll go through all that stuff and show you how we can set up some cool ads for you. Okay. So all this, I'll have questions here if you have them. If not, you guys have a very happy Thanksgiving. Really appreciate you showing up week after week, supporting the SysloSpice, supporting all of that good stuff. We got a lot to do. We got a lot to cover, a lot to deep dive into, and I'm going to continue to come as often as I can. If I can't come, you'll get an email on it. All right. Otherwise, if nobody has any questions, I'll give you a second. Let's see if anybody's got any questions coming in. Let's see. Turn that off. Budget amount for e-commerce during holidays. I mean, minimum, it depends on how much you're spent, how much that actual product is, but you got to be somewhere around 3,000. You know, if you really want to get it going, 2,000 to 3,000 minimum, right? You'll make sales on a smaller budget, but 2,000 to 3,000, if not more, is really where you want to play. That's a good question. Anybody else have any other questions? I'll leave it open there. Okay, awesome. Don't see any more coming through. Great. Well, have you guys a very Merry Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And I'll see you all next week. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thank you so much.